That we could also talk a little bit about dialogue. Dialogue is one of the hardest parts of creative writing. I mean, at least for me. That's how you feel. Just know you're not alone and that we're all there at one time or another. I'm there most of the time. That's why I started making videos. And I am at 25,125 words. So, this is the start of another writing vlog. It's a new week and I am plodding along in my zero draft. I am at about 22,000 words and I have been sticking to my plan of writing a little bit each day. And I thought that maybe this week, while you are joining me as I write, that we could also talk a little bit about dialogue, because I feel like dialogue is one of the hardest parts of creative writing, especially, I mean, at least for me, because it needs to accomplish so many things. It really needs to progress the story. It really needs to develop the characters. It must provide subtext. And it must be distinctive, meaning that you want each of your characters to have their own voice. In that way, correct dialogue done well, can tell the story better than exposition ever will, because it allows the reader to be involved in the story. They have to interpret what is being said and what is not being said, and it also pulls them in emotionally because they are getting acquainted with the characters. They're getting to know them and their feelings, and all of those things are super important for your story because you want your reader to be invested. You want them to be connected with your characters and to be drawn in by the story, and just they need the feeling that they need to know what's going to happen. So you want that dialogue to not only draw them in and let them get to know your characters, but also to like constantly build that tension. And so if dialogue done correctly can do all of those things. Whereas exposition, yes, it provides information that is essential to the story. It situates them in a time and a place and provides like a visual account of where they are. So your character's not just floating around in space somewhere. Every line of dialogue really has to matter, and it has to move the story forward. Those can be challenging things to accomplish when you're sitting down at a keyboard and typing. So certainly I have found that the best way to kind of get a grasp on whether your dialogue sounds natural is to read it out loud. You certainly get a better feel for the way it sounds when you're hearing it, rather than just seeing it on the page. With that in mind, it's also kind of worthy of noting that when you're having a conversation with someone, you're not revealing everything. You're not telling everything. Like, there's always secrets. There's always things that are implied. Every person has their own agenda. And so you need to, as a writer, be able to convey what they're not saying. And that's where subtext comes into play. And a lot of that is accomplished by including action tags with your dialogue. So, your character can say one thing, but then when you reveal what their expression is or what their body language is, maybe as the reader interprets it, they're going to say, well, that's not what they really mean. There's something else going on here. And so that's a way for you to get them really involved in what they're reading, because they're going to try to put it together. There's always something to be said for some mystery. And then back to the whole distinctive part, you have your accents and jargon and slang. You have people that has lisps, or that kind of have a whine when they talk, or maybe they drawl out parts of their words. So those also give your character kind of their own voice and make them recognizable to your reader. So keeping all of those things in mind, I really feel is what makes writing dialogue so challenging, because there is so much invested in your dialogue. It really will make or break your story, I believe, because if it sounds unnatural or unbelievable, or if it doesn't leave anything to the imagination, then your reader's going to not believe it, or they're going to get bored. So it's certainly something that writers should focus on and put some real work into. And I know that I need to do that. It is definitely one of the things that I've always struggled with is my dialogue and finding the distinctiveness between my characters. So that being said, I am going to work on, I believe, my plan is this week is to start working on the end of my story. And a lot of that is going to be done in dialogue. It's going to be done there's going to be two sections. There's going to be the interaction that takes place back on Earth and an interaction that takes place on this new planet. And so knowing that, I need the dialogue to be great, because this is the climax. I mean, this is, these interactions are going to be where everything gets wrapped up and revealed, and the resolution, whether it's a real resolution or not, we'll see. I really need to work on that. So stay tuned, and I will talk to you as I make progress and kind of what I'm working on, and we're going to get it done. And you know what they say, that many times it is a great idea for you to write the end of your story first, because then you know where you're going, like where you're headed. As you're writing, you know where you're headed, what the end point is, what the end goal is. And I have not done that yet. I have, an idea. I've kind of written down my ideas for it, but I have not actually written it all down, written it all out. So that's the goal. And yeah, I'll keep you posted. There. Good morning. Today I am vlogging, writing. I'm gonna really focus on spending a good big chunk of the day writing. I really hope to actually reach the next milestone, which is the 25,000 word mark. And so that is the plan. I think I have right now like 23,500, so I have like 2,500 words, give or take. But right now I'm going to have a quick breakfast and then get started. It is about 8:45. I got up this morning and had my coffee and then I got on my Peloton bike for like 30 minutes just to get some movement in. Yeah. So now we're gonna eat. I usually just have some eggs and fruit for breakfast. I don't like to eat anything too heavy because I feel like it kind of slows me down. It just makes me feel a little tired and sluggish early in the morning. This is just weird, random thing, but I've been obsessed with this horseradish pub style sauce by Boar's Head on my eggs. I don't know why. That, and I'm a hot sauce girl. And I don't know about you, but there's something about fresh fruit. So good. Hazel, you're crazy. You better calm down. She has lost her mind this morning. She is running around with her squeaky toy up and down the hallway, like fast as she can. She's a total, I don't even know why, just out of nowhere. What are you doing? Hazel. Come here. No, you can't have that. Thank you. Why are you so crazy? Why are you so crazy? She's nuts. But it's rather cute. You can't have this. I don't know, but I think that pineapple is my favorite. But I'm also a huge fan of berries and watermelon. There's very few fruit that I don't like. Although I will say that I've tried papaya several different times and just could not. It was the texture or the flavor. I don't know, but I did not like it at all. And there's some fruit that really just doesn't agree with me. Like, I love apples, but for whatever reason, they seem to upset my stomach. So I don't eat them a lot. And mango, I love mango, but again, like, it upsets my stomach. I also really love cherries. When I lived in Washington State, I would go to their like local farmers markets and get their local cherries, the Rainier cherries. Oh, they were so freaking delicious. So good, flavorful, big and juicy. Anyway, that's kind of like a little rant on fruit, just for no reason. I'm gonna finish cooking and I will check back in with you before I start writing. Okay, so I've had our breakfast. I've made some tea and pulled out my notes, and I have my document up and about to turn on some music. I am at 23,461 words. So to get to 25,000, I need just over 2,500. So I don't necessarily expect to get there today, but I would like to get there by the end of the week. So, you know, Saturday, Sunday at the latest. I think that is more than doable. I do have a hair appointment tomorrow, which takes up, 2-3 hours of my day, which isn't that big of a deal. I will still have some time to get writing done and other like admin type stuff that I need to do. And so I wanted to focus on today probably more of the climax scene and the climactic scene. Doesn't matter. And also I wanted to provide more information on the social structures of the aliens that live on this planet. And so I think that is maybe the area I might focus on today. I have gone through, and so I write in Microsoft Word, at least for the story I have used Scrivener, which I do like, but I started this in Microsoft Word and I have just been continuing it there. It feels like too much of a chore to try to transfer it over. And so I've been using the review section where you can add comments over on the far side as like little reminders of things I want to put in the chapter, any revisions that I have thought of that need to be made. I'm really trying not to go back and revise what I've already written, because they say that revision is the killer of progress or something like that, because you can keep going back and revising and never write anything new, which isn't going to get you anywhere in the long run. And I am guilty of that 100%. I'll go back just to refresh myself of what I just wrote the other day, or, maybe I need to go back and remind myself what I wrote about a specific character or a specific event, and I end up sitting there and reading it and then, oh, I can add this, or I can fix this. This should be worded like this, or why didn't I do this here? And then I find myself caught in that web of revising when I should be writing. So I've really been making a concerted effort to avoid doing that. Sometimes it just can't be helped because things are wrong, and if I catch it, I do want to maybe just make a note of it at least, so that I don't miss fixing it later. Anyway, all that to say that I'm ready to get started, and so I am going to. It is 9:30. I will probably set a timer for 30 minutes and focus on just writing and no distractions in that time, and then maybe take a 5 or 10 minute break, then get back to it for another 30 minutes. I hope to I hope to at least spend 2 hours writing today. That I think is a good goal, and it actually doesn't seem like very much when you say it like that, but I do have other things that I need to do, and when 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock rolls around, I have to get up from the desk and do other things, like take the dogs out, start thinking of making dinner, and also like to read. And usually most of my reading time is done before bed, but sometimes when at that time I'm tired, so I feel like maybe I don't get the best reading experience at times, sometimes if I'm tired, because I find myself like, oh, I need to go reread that paragraph because I was like half asleep or not paying attention. So sometimes if I get a chance, from like between 2 and 3 or 3 and 4, I like to sit down for like an hour or so and maybe read a little bit if I have the time. Anyway, another random tangent. I'm gonna get going. So let's do it. Okay, so I ended up writing for like an hour and a half. The timer went off, but like I was just on a roll. I was just feeling it, so I kept going. And honestly, like I feel like a complete idiot because I worked in accounting for 15 years and I apparently can't count because I said I needed 2,500 words, and that's a big fat lie. It's like 1,500. And so in that hour and a half, I wrote about 1,200 words. No, where was I at? I was at 23.3. Anyway, I wrote about 1,000 words. I have just under 500 words to reach the 25K mark. And for whatever reason, today the words are just flowing, and so I am going with it and gonna take advantage of that, because some days are not are not that way. I mean, if you are a writer, you know, like some days it just comes and it feels so good and so easy, and you're just happy with everything. And other days are the complete opposite of that, where you feel like you're pulling words from nowhere. Like it's just a real struggle. So on days like today, when I am feeling inspired and good about what's coming out, I am just going to take full advantage. So I also wanted to mention that I have been working on the final scene in the main like climactic section, and I've been reading the dialogue out loud to myself just to make sure that it sounds good, it sounds natural, and it so helps. It really does. I mean, I think that I've done actually a surprisingly good job with my dialogue. I'm pretty happy with it, which I honestly didn't think that I was going to be. I have made a few adjustments, just added a few things, reworded a few things that I had already written, and then continuing on and reading aloud, going back a few and reading aloud as I go, just to make sure it stays consistent and sounds good. And I think it's going well. So that's a win, and I'll take it. So I think I'm actually going to take a little bit of a break from writing now and then come back to it later. It's a beautiful day. It's supposed to be like 74 degrees today and sunny. And so I'm sure I will take a break maybe at some point later today, go out at the pool or something and just, take advantage of the vitamin D, right? And the doggies love it. They love to go up there. Bear dog. They love to go up there and chase each other and run around the pool and sunbathe. And so it's cute. I like to watch them. So anyway, that's the plan. Today has been a great writing day so far. And I think that's all for now. Check back in with you in a bit. So I wrote for about 45 minutes and I am at 25,125 words. I feel like that's a big win. I'm feeling so good about this, and I just hope that it keeps going this direction. Hi, Mama. Oh, hi, you pretty girl. Here. Come here. Oh, God. I'm gonna say hi. Thank you. She's dying for some attention, so I think we're gonna go spend some time outside. Stop. I think I'm gonna stop there for the day. I don't want to necessarily stop because I'm kind of feeling on a roll, but I have some other things I want to do, and I feel like I've made some really good progress. And so I'm I'm gonna call it a day and walk away feeling successful for what I accomplished today. I mainly worked on the final scene. It's not done by any means, but there's quite a bit of dialogue, and as I've been writing it, I've been writing a little bit, going back and reading what I wrote, and then continuing on, so on and so forth. And that seems to be working really well. I'm happy with it. I'm sure that later on there will be some revisions that need to happen, but yeah, it's going good. So, anyway, FedEx truck pulled up and the dogs lost their minds. So I'm going to wrap up this vlog now here. I'm sure I will probably write again this weekend. Maybe that'll just go on next week's writing vlog. Whatever the case may be, I will, share it with you and keep you up to date on my word counts and the progress and all of the fun things. I guess that's it. To any of my writer friends who are stuck or having a tough time of it, I just wanted to mention that, we all obviously go through that. If this video provided you some inspiration or the resolve to just push through your tough spot, then, share that with me, because that would certainly make me feel better and really great about making these videos. That's why I watch writers on YouTube, is just to not feel alone in the progress, because I know so many times being a writer can feel very lonely. You're just you and your keyboard plodding away. So if that's how you feel, just know you're not alone, and that we're all there at one time or another. I'm there most of the time. That's why I started making videos, just to find a community, to have some support, to have some inspiration, to share what I've learned in school, all those things. And like I said, I don't claim to be an expert, because I am certainly not. But I do feel like I gained a good bit of valuable information in my bachelor's degree program, and if I can just share a piece of that in a community, like on this platform, then, that makes me happy. So anyway, I will talk to you next week about writing, and let me know if you have any questions, or if you want to talk about anything in the comments, feel free to do that. I will see you next week. Thanks for watching, guys.